What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady, and the Chef, joined by my co-host today.
D Blacks 21, what's up?
It's another day. Get to talk about basketball. Of course, it's the Knicks off season, so we get to talk about how the Knicks and some interesting trade talks. I know tonight we were going to cover Tibbs and his entering his last season as the head coach of the Knicks, and what does that mean for him moving forward. And then we'll switch gears over to the WNBA and talk about WNBA news as well as the New York Liberty, of course. So I guess I'll kick things off with talking about Tom Thibodeau, who, like I said, is entering his final season of his contracts with the Knicks this year. He's led the franchise to their most successful run in his 4 years so far being with the Knicks. Tibbs is more than likely, according to reports, to sign an extended contract with the Knicks, which would give him a guarantee of I believe, the 10 million a year signing with the Knicks. I think Tibbs has earned it. I think while there's some times where I have questions about Tibbs and his exact calls that he may make or decision making, for lack of a better word, um, I think Tibbs, he's known as a coach who can make franchises better, right? So franchises that are not good, he makes them better and gets them to where, as a whole, the franchise is trying to go. And I think with Thibodeau, he's done that. He's taken a poor Knicks team. First two seasons was a struggle. He really only had Julius Randle, and he was somehow able to figure out how to get this team to become a winning team. And then you get Jalen Brunson here, and now the team is becoming known as a winning team, right? And they become a better team just overall. You saw the growth of players. Front office responded to him needing the right players in place to make things happen. And I think with next season, excuse me, he'll have even more players in place or tweaks that he can have with a healthy Knicks team to get this team even further. So I think that Tibbs, in his tenure so far here with the Knicks, I think he's done, to me, I would give him at least a B plus. Your thoughts on Tibbs possibly getting extended, most likely getting extended with this Knicks team and remaining with them as the head coach?
Yeah, I definitely feel that they're going to extend him, and he should. I mean, he's earned it. Like you said, he's turned the franchise around. Um, and you know, just like we always say, we always question, like, his coaching style, things he does. I mean, just as a talking about team chemistry, it's chemistry all across the board, from the front office all the way down to the players. So that's important, because that's stability. You know the coaching style. He knows you. The players go to bat for Tibbs. They're ready to like dispel any rumors about how Tibbs, run these guys into the ground. So that's a rapport he's built with them, which is, you need that with your players, because let's face it, if players aren't happy, they got a way of getting you the boot. So that speaks volumes for Tibbs. Just the relationship that he's he's garnered with his players. I definitely hope that he gets that extension. He's earned it. And just overall, with a healthy team, the sky's the limit. The limit for the Knicks. Um, Me again, I would give him a B plus too, because it's a, if they would have went, possibly further, he could have definitely got a high grade. But for what he was working with, he's definitely earned that B plus. And some people may say A, whatever. But I'm with you, a B plus. I hope he do get that extension, because again, he's earned that right. He's done a hell of a job with this team.
Right.
He took them, as far as they could possibly have gone, considering what he was working with. So I'm definitely all for it.
Yeah. I think Tibbs, I also think that sometimes if you switch coaches, like even though Tibbs has been here as long as he has, that may not be an effective for this current Knicks team who has chemistry, who knows how each other plays. Not to say that that necessarily may negatively impact the team, but I think that Tibbs knows these guys. The players on the Knicks are comfortable playing under Tibbs. They know what he expects, how he runs his team. So I think it just only makes sense. And I think where this Knicks team is trying to go the direction wise and trying to get the chase after a championship, it just makes sense to have Tibbs along to bring this team there. Are you confident that Tibbs can bring this Knicks team to a championship, to a
Oh,
finals?
a healthy team, yes, because what they dealt with. Just imagine if we would have had a healthy team. They, I'm a firm believer that they would have been buying on Thursday, and that would have been the Knicks. I mean, some people say, "Oh, delusional." Then, hey, I'm delusional, and I'll take that. But yes, I truly believe that he can, and next, that's why I'm so excited for next season. Once all the pieces get into place, again, they will be in contention. And on another note, like when you look around the league, there are a lot of teams that are like scrambling, looking for coaches, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not, they're making wise decisions on who they pick. I read somewhere that Nick's assistant, the Cavs got permission to talk to him. I forgot what's his name, Johnny. I don't know if it's Brian, but he has a relationship with Donovan. So teams are being very selective on who they pick as a coach. So, the Knicks are lucky to have him, and vice versa. And Tibbs is lucky to be here because, coaching, that's a hard job. It's not easy. You deal with a lot of BS. And so, you know, um, and Tibbs is built for that. He's built for that. So I truly believe that he will, take them, to that next step next season for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Tibbs can definitely take this Knicks team to the next level. I think Tibbs is one of those coaches that he needs the right players in place. I mean, which makes sense as most coaches would. But I think he's even proven with not even having two things, not a healthy team, but also not the full, strong enough roster to get to the next level. He's proven that he can take a team to the next level. Am I confident that Thibodeau can bring this Knicks team to a Eastern Conference Finals and a Finals? Yes. I think Tibbs is more than capable of doing that. Um, and I feel even more confident because you have a strong leader and like a player like Jalen Brunson, which the Knicks haven't had in many years. We haven't had a player who can do those kind of things and be that clutch player down the stretch of games and can carry the team or hit the last shot if you need it or make the right decision. And it's no one's perfect. He's had his flaws as well. Last year in the second round and this season he had throughout the playoffs, there was those one or two games where Jalen Brunson even called it out himself on decisions that he made that weren't the proper decision to be made. But I think with this team having this group of guys, as long as they remain healthy, and then maybe making some tweaks as far as trades to bring in maybe a little bit more bench depth, I think that this team can go further. And I think that they have to go further because the Knicks have proven you are a first round, a second round team, playoff team. Now I think it's time to show growth, getting better, and they can do that under Tibbs' regime and being able to play under Tibbs. Um, Speaking of drafts to find the next potential Knicks, I know per Yahoo Sports, New York is looking to move both their 24th and 25th picks of the upcoming draft. And, to some people, Knicks fans may be scratching their heads because most Knicks fans want the Knicks to use their first round picks, right, to be able to grab a couple of young, cost control players, right? So I think that the Knicks, for me, I think that the Knicks are trying to go for the 24th and 25th just because um, Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports put it very well, and he said that basically adding to the Knicks team is going to be a difficult task this season than it has been in the past. He said there's no Victor Wembanyama in this class. There's no Zion Williamson in this class. There's no Cooper Flag, a Cam Boozer, et cetera, et cetera. So there's no players like that. He continued to say there's just a lot of expectation and excitement, and at least the next 2 year draft classes, let alone what could be a 2028 pick. So I think that the Knicks right now we're trying to play their cards right. And, we've been harping on the Knicks not needing a superstar, which I'm fully 100% in agreement that we don't need a superstar here, especially someone that's going to cost us a lot of money that may not work out on this team. It may, but it may not work out as well. So there's that 50-50 chance of, you know, you can go after players. And we've mentioned several players here on our draft trade shows that we've gone over our past few episodes. But I think the Knicks doing that or deciding to move their 24th and 25th picks, I think the Knicks are kind of doing that because they proved throughout the season that they were capable of being championship ready when healthy, and that they were just one game away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I don't know. I guess trading those picks, it'll align with the front office where they're trying to go. I guess, what they're trying to do and bring in, not bring in so many assets to the team, but for a better possible potential trade in the end of the day. So I don't know. It do I think that the Knicks should be able to use some of their first round picks to probably get in someone better if it is for the right player and it makes sense? Yes. But if it doesn't make sense, I don't think that they should do it. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. I always say, if you're gonna, bring in a player, make sure it's for talent-wise purposes. You know, um, because the ultimate goal is to win. You want to win now. With those players, now it's like a developmental stage. You got to send them to the G League, and and that takes time. So is that the wise decision? Yeah, that you may need it down the road a year or two, but the ultimate goal is we need a championship now. Like that's where the Knicks are headed. So trading them, that may be the best decision because they do have a lot of picks. So it's like, well, okay, we're gonna gamble this and let's see what that where that takes us. And it could take them far, I mean, because these are first rounders. These are not, that they have in 24 and 25. That's, yeah, it's not 10 or 9 or 10, but it's still a first round, and that says a lot. If they could, use them for, like I said, another player talent wise and the caliber for a backup and because there's several positions that the Knicks are lacking. So
Right,
if you
right.
could use those guys for an upgrade, then why not? So um use them wisely. And I know the front office will because they've been playing chess this whole time, and they've been very strategic as to the route that they're going. So if it's for an upgrade, then so be it. Because
Yeah.
do we have that time for the developmental stage where you could have possibly used those picks for a player for the here and now that's going to make an immediate contribution. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I feel if you're going to use them for an upgrade and semi talent wise, then go for the gamble.
Yeah, the Knicks, I want to point out that the Knicks hold the number 24 and 25 picks um, because of the whole Kristaps Porzingis trade with Dallas. And then the Knicks will also have the number 38 selection in the second round. So, you know, the thing is that sometimes when you see teams in the league, they'll get those not draft players. There's a rarity sometimes when that happens, or guys who were overlooked by many teams and then they get picked up and they turn out to be really good players. Like they're a good 6 man guy off the bench, but they bring value to a team. And in my opinion, the Knicks have overlooked a lot of players like that. Or either they had the wrong scout looking for those type of players because we brought in guys who whoever was scouting thought, oh, he's a good 6 man, or would be a good seventh, eighth guy that comes off the bench and gives us some value, give you a nice amount of points. He can do a little bit of this, do a little bit. And we've had guys that just didn't fall in that category. But when you watch other teams in the league, you're like, wow, how did Knicks miss somebody like him who maybe went undrafted or he was like high in the class? And sometimes those are like those hidden gems.
Yeah,
You'll be surprised that you can't necessarily go, oh well, it's the second round, it's this round, but sometimes you can find a hidden gem in a player who can be surprising to a team and really can add some value, and who doesn't necessarily need a ton of development. He just is more so working on his game, and he has the game to be able to sustain playing in the NBA. Maybe he just needs to work on some things in the off season or with trainers, whatever it may be. But I think the Knicks, if they can find like that diamond in the rough who can be a surprising add on to this team, that'll be a huge plus as well. So hopefully the Knicks can find a player like that and bring them here to this team.
for sure. I agree with your whole statement. And like I said, they I guess that's one of the reasons maybe why they're looking to, take that leap of faith or whatever, go off the deep end and try to, see what's out, out there. Because they know in the direction that they want to go. And, time is of the essence. These guys are young in their prime, 27. So it's
Hmm.
like, well, how much longer do we have to wait? And then overall as a franchise, it's been 50, like 50, what, 50 years. So it's like,
Right.
okay, we're on the cusp. We just gotta just find that, like you said, whether it's a diamond in the rough, that gem, somebody that's gonna make an instant contribution and that coming to make an impact, whether defensively, the presence is there, offense, so or all around. So you know, um, if that's the route they're going, then those draft picks, then you use them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that maybe the Knicks front office, like I said, they're going a route that they're going and try to capitalize on one before they pull the trigger so quickly to use those first round picks. Maybe the Knicks are trying to, I don't know, get in guys and try to build up some capital to be able to get that maybe star or that big name player that they want to get to add to this team. It has to be a method to their madness and why they're moving the way that they're moving, right? And I think
Sure.
because it's really no availability in this league, while money does talk, but there are a lot of teams in the league who are planning on keeping players around.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I don't know if that's due to this draft class. Is like
it's weak.
who's out there? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weak. Yeah, there you go. So it's like, well, why use them, or take them. Let me see if maybe to pan out, maybe won't, but it's worth the gamble.
right. Exactly. Yeah, I just I don't know. I think it's going to be very interesting, the moves and how the Knicks move themselves as far as, like, you have your 24th, 25th pick. You move that. Maybe you take somebody, you trade it off to, I don't know how that's going to work. So I'm interested to see how the Knicks make their moves and go about that as far as that. We're still monitoring and watching. I know the latest with Isaiah Hartenstein, he's asking for like a huge payday. I thought it was like, wasn't it like 100 million that I read?
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw a salute to Paris Strugger. He put that in the chat. I don't know what dro he's smoking. You can shoot a shot near the free throw line. I and let me be clear. I'm not trying to come off and bash Hartenstein and come off like I really don't even have the energy for that tonight. Like I really don't. I don't even feel well tonight. But what I'm saying is I heart that asking price is real high. Like, and I'm sure maybe a team will be willing to pay that. But do I think it's wise for the Knicks to pay him that? I think truly, if I worked for the Knicks front office, we would really have to be having some serious talks because you got Mitchell Robinson to a good contract, but the problem is Mitch doesn't stay healthy. He doesn't play enough games to stick around for majority of the season. Then you have Isaiah Hartenstein who can stay healthy, but now he wants this huge payday, and the Knicks are trying not to go over the luxury tax and pay all this extra money. So what do? Is Isaiah Hartenstein worth that kind of payday? To me, no.
Yep, give him his walking papers. It's been nice. Thank you for last season. Me personally, and like I said, well, I'm not here to bash him either because when he was in and when he played, he hustled. He was part of that win season. So you're not taking anything or diminishing his what he did and his contribution. But for that asking price, I think that's absurd. And if somebody's willing to pay him that, then so be it, But I don't think he's and again, when it's all good when they help you win, but now when they want that payday, everybody's like da. But for me personally, maybe because there was some plays, and you've even mentioned it in the podcast about how he wasn't able to hold his own. Yeah, he if he gets dunked on, but he's still coming back. He didn't shy away, but there was some games where he just couldn't stop his opponent.
Yeah,
That
on one-on-one
76.
defensive matchups.
Yeah, exactly. That 76ers matchup, man, he got taken to school.
He was
So other
exposed.
instances, what was that? Yeah,
He
he
was
was exposed.
exposed. Yeah.
Exactly, that's the word. Yeah, so I mean, he did. We're not diminishing his play. He was a part of that 50 win, season. Made healthy, made huge contributions.
How much
But
would you pay Isaiah Hartenstein?
what they have to offer, which is 72. Um, yeah, the 72. What was that for? Like 4 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the max of what they could offer him.
Yeah.
Take
That's
it or leave it.
17 million a year. Um, yeah, I think that's more in the realm of where he's deservingly worth getting paid. Isaiah Hartenstein, you don't have a shot. At least we haven't seen it consistently. You don't shoot threes. Bigs in the league shoot threes. Um, your defense could use some work. It's like you said in the first round, you couldn't even guard Embiid. Precious Achua guarded Embiid better than you. Mitchell Robinson
Yeah,
guarded better than you. It just wasn't the matchup for you. Second round, I wasn't really too crazy about his defense either. I know some people said they weren't sure if Isaiah Hartenstein was hurt. Maybe he was, but I didn't see any signs of that. But he just looked, I don't know if it was like winded and drained, but he just, to me, he doesn't have the presence defensively like Mitchell Robinson does, right? Guys will think twice before they go against Mitch.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not to say that Isaiah Hartenstein is just some pushover guys are just gonna. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it's a difference in defensive presence down in that paint. Mitch is the bulldog, as Corey Lee likes to call him, the butcher, right? So when he's in the paint, Mitchell Robinson just has a stronger defensive presence in the paint versus Isaiah Hartenstein. And I admire Isaiah Hartenstein because, like you just pointed out, he'll get dunked on, but he doesn't give up. He keeps going. He does. A lot of times he's had nice blocks for us, huge blocks for us in games, and he's done a fantastic job in the paint. But I don't think that him asking for 100 million is reflective of the player that he is, because you're not playing like a Carl Anthony Towns where you're versatile down low in the paint and you could shoot a mid range, you could shoot a three, you could hit free throws. Like overall, his game, it's not it's not there. So I think
Yeah,
you should be paid what you're worth, what your game is worth, and not what you think you're worth. And Hartenstein doesn't have a versatile game like bigs in the league. You're not doing out there what Victor Wembanyama is doing. You know what I mean? You're not out there doing what you see other players in the league, big guys who are in the league, Jokic are doing, where they're versatile,
out
where
there
they have
balling.
an outside game, right? And he just doesn't
Yeah,
have that. So I think to be commanding that amount that he's asking for, now if he was doing those things, and I would be like, well, maybe not 100, but I would be like, maybe he 85, 89, 90, he around there, because he can give you a little bit of both. He also was able to draw the defense out. You can't do that. You can't even dribble the ball. You barely dribble the ball. When he get the ball, his back is to the. How many times you heard Clyde Walt Frazier say, turn around? I don't know why Isaiah Hartenstein is doing that. He's like, folks, his back is to the basket. You holding a ball like it's a football, like we playing flag football. Why? So I understand with the good, there's the pros and the cons, but to me, I don't think Isaiah Hartenstein is worth paying out 100 million for this Knicks team when you haven't proved that you can give us a little bit more than a floater that you don't look 100% confident in when you're shooting that floater. It doesn't look organic. You don't look very confident and comfortable shooting that floater always. Did it work? Yes. It worked more than it didn't work. Can he make free throws? Yes. But when you can't shoot a mid range and bank it off the backboard or hit a little, just something simple near the basket, I'm not even asking you to shoot threes. When you can't even do that, I'm sorry. I would say then the Knicks need to just move on and try to find somebody else. They
oh,
have early bird rights, but if somebody else is interested, I say get the job done and bring somebody else in who will make sense, because I just I don't see the Knicks paying Isaiah Hartenstein that much money. It's just too much. Too much for a guy whose game is not as versatile as you see many other bigs, five center positions in the league doing, you know?
yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, I know like I said, he did a great job for us, and I know his stock, rose. The further we went, his value did go up, but like you said, his play for the most part didn't, match the salary that he's commanding. Like I said, when he played, he was great. So again, not no shade and not taking anything from him, but just overall, I don't think he's worth what he's asking for. His asking price. I mean, there's a saying, pay me what I'm worth and add tax to it. But are you worth that? So now you gotta, so now the Knicks, that's another thing they have on their. to consider. But overall, they're gonna definitely do right. If they have to give him his walking papers, there's a lot of available centers out there that can that are versatile. Because like you said, he don't have that under his belt. Just the little things that he can do. Like you said, you know, sh- hit a mid range and things like so. These are things that they have to consider. But he's not. He's definitely not worth 100 million. I mean, in my opinion, I would love for him to come back. I mean, if they could get him, like you said, that coupon shopping, then so be it. Then sign him up. I definitely love to have iHeart back. Salute, Steph.
So salute to staff listening in Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk.
Listen to boy.
Um, so if the Knicks decide to just move on and part ways, they can't make the deal happen with Hartenstein. Who do you bring in? Do you look within the league now to fulfill that position, or do you go to the draft? And if you do go to the draft, do you feel like that's strong enough going into the season, or do you prefer them to go with a player who has more NBA experience?
Oh, definitely a player with more NBA experience because because Mitch is now, and if they keep Mitch and don't trade him because he's so injury prone, you definitely going to need somebody that's going to be able to make an impact. So you find somebody at Mitch's caliber with some experience because with the draft, again, those are developmental guys. Will they be able to make an impact right away? So these are the things that you have to consider. If they're not able to, retain iHeart, fine, get a center, that can, with some experience and that could come in and make an immediate impact. Because again, because of Mitch, the uncertainty with, he has a tendency, he's injury prone. So what are your other options? You
Yeah,
know, you certainly can move Randall to the five. You know,
yeah, no.
don't know if, with its precious status. So these are things that they have to take into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Knicks definitely need to look after going after a player, a Drummond, a Valachunas, somebody else in the league who has NBA experience already, right? Somebody who's going to be a dog down in the paint for us defensively, who's going to be able to get us the defensive and offensive boards, who can shot block, who can hit free throws, and who can hit you a little shot here and there if you need him or a floater. We don't need another Jericho Sims on the team
No,
as a backup to because it's not going to work out. And I this is why I was saying at the top of our episodes covering who the Knicks should trade for, get, et cetera, in our trade talk series. I was saying how the Knicks really should try to get a center um, who can pull the defense out some at times. Because when you have a guy who's just camped out by the basket, the defense doesn't really have to work. When you don't really have a somebody who can score at times. I'm not saying every time you feed them the ball, but when you can have somebody who can be a distraction and pull the defense out from the paint or their defensive opponent out from the paint, it helps. But I agree 100%. The Knicks do need somebody who's going to be strong enough to back up Mitchell Robinson if the Isaiah Hartenstein deal doesn't work out, just because Mitch is injury prone and you need someone who can come in and fulfill that role and not is just an active body running up and down the court. We already have that in Jericho Sims. Like, we don't need that again. So I think that's going to be really important for the front office to figure out, if you're not going to give Isaiah Hartenstein this astronomical amount of money that he's looking for, or he's not happy with the rate that the Knicks are offering him at the number that they're offering him, who do you go to next? I think you have to really look at the guys that's available or who's on the market and make sure that they're fit for this team. Somebody that also wants to be here and play as a New York Knickerbocker, and somebody that can make an impact If Mitchell Robinson goes down with an injury, you need someone who can come in and be as strong and make a presence on the floor. I don't want to see them, like I said, I keep saying it, but you don't, even at times Precious Achua was close to the basket and missing easy shots, easy layups. So we don't need a Precious Achua or Jericho Sims 2.0. We need somebody that's going to be ready, willing to catch the ball, you know what I mean, who could score, a versatile player. Salute to Steph. Doto Sports and Knicks Talk said, I wouldn't pay iHeart 25 million, but he's not one dimensional. Mitchell Rob is one dimensional. Remember, center is not a deep position in the league. We don't need a center who can score but can defend. Yeah, I agree. I definitely wouldn't pay iHeart 25 million. It's unfortunate that his asking price is very high. And I'm not going to say that's unfortunate. It's a business at the end of the day. If that's what he's looking for, that's what he's looking for. Just like Emmanuel quickly was looking for the number he was looking for, and he walked away because the Knicks couldn't match it. It's a business. It happens. I think Isaiah Hartenstein comparing to Mitchell Robinson, no, he's not one dimensional. Mitchell Robinson is one dimensional because all he can really do is defend, and he needs the alley oop in order to score, right? Or if he's able to get the offensive rebound and he could put it back in, slam it in the basket, great. Isaiah Hartenstein, one of the reasons why he can ask for more money, right? Maybe not that high, 25 million, but why he can ask for more money. Isaiah Hartenstein is a great passer or a center. He passes great passes. And just think, if this Knicks team would cut to the basket more, if players on the Knicks team would cut, he would look like Jokic out there with the passing even more. He's a really great passer. He has great timing, the right amount of umph and zip on his bounce passes, his chest passes. He really is a great passer for a big. I'm
Yeah.
really impressed with him in that regard. But I still stand with where I go with Isaiah Hartenstein. He, and I don't know, maybe it's something that maybe he'll work on in the summer. There was times where I saw him throw up that floater and I didn't feel like he was confident
Oh yeah.
or comfortable throwing that floater up. It seems like it's still in the working phase. Now maybe next season he's going to come back and that floater shot's going to look stronger. Like I said, did it work most of the time? Yes. But I don't think that I'm saying necessarily that I need him to score all the time. But would it be nice if he can contribute towards scoring? Because there was times where Isaiah Hartenstein, he's open, right? And he's so looking to pass. There was a few games, I don't know. I want to say this had to have been maybe in the playoffs, or if you could correct me if I'm wrong. It could have been towards the last few remnants, few couple of games we had at the regular season. Isaiah Hartenstein couldn't pass the ball to anyone. Whoever we was playing, they was like on white on rice on every other the four players on the team. Isaiah Hartenstein had no choice but to shoot the ball, and he made it. But he actually
Yeah.
looked good shooting a shot at the corner of the free throw line. And I said, wow, look at that. If he just sometimes here and there add that to your game, you've shown you're capable of doing that. I'm not asking you to score all the time, but if you can give us a basket here or there, aside from that floater, right? We know he can hit free throws better than Mitchell Robinson. That's more of what I would like to see from him. At times where now you make the defense have to go, all right, I have to be up on him because I know he can make that shot. Again, I'm not asking for him to shoot threes. I'm not asking you to shoot mid-range shots all the time either and become this high-profile center scorer. But I do agree. I don't think that Isaiah Hartenstein is worth the 100 million. Not yet. I think that that's too high. The price is very, very high. I'm not sure. Someone else asked about Valachunas. What's his asking price? I have to look into those. But great questions from the chat. Um, Coach Sar said Drummond is low IQ and not a defender. No, Drummond gives me like a Mitchell Robinson 2.0, if I'm being quite honest.
Well, he's a great rebounder. I
Yeah, he's
mean,
a great
and
rebounder.
he's put up double doubles. I mean, I don't know how many, but um, I think that's a viable option. For the Knicks. He can definitely come in and make an immediate impact. He has the experience. It's a local product. I feel that would be a nice addition if iHeart do decide it don't work out. I would definitely uh have him in consideration.
Yeah, same. I would have him in consideration because you still, if it doesn't work out with the signing with Hartenstein, I think you need a NBA center with NBA experience. Tibbs already has issues with trust. He's not going to play a center from straight from college and give him burn like that. For that
Yeah.
reasoning, you might as well tell Jericho Simmons go in and play. It's just it's not going to work
Hey,
out. So, I just think that it's very interesting, and we'll both to be monitoring what the Knicks do as far as the center positioning, as far as being able to sign Isaiah Hartenstein, because I'm sure there are plenty of teams who are calling his agents as we speak and who have been calling already, and they're interested. So right now, because the Knicks do have early bird rights to him, maybe they're going to try to work some numbers out and say this is our final offer, and either he takes it or he leaves it. And if not, I'm sure the Knicks front office are professionals. They have their backup plans of who they want to start looking at to bring in for this team. So we'll see. I would give Byhart 75 million.
yeah, that's a decent. As fans, we say what we give him, but yeah, that's a decent price.
Right. Salute CM67 said iHeart has bad Achilles too. Yeah, that Achilles injury is always gonna follow you. Once you injure it, it's one of those things that, you know, you have to deal with, unfortunately. So I don't know. I think we'll see what happens with that. We'll be monitoring it, as far as what goes on with the trade. No, Tibbs will not play draft players. I 100% agree.
Yeah,
Already got to overpay OG. Nah, I'm good on iHeart. We need a star. But you think we need a star, Parish Duggar? I don't think we need a star. And at what cost is that going to cost the Knicks front office to get a star? Because a lot of the NBA players who we covered in our trade talk series, these were high paying players, high paid players. So that means the Knicks will have to give up a lot to bring in plenty of guys who've been on the trade superstar trade talk to potentially go to the Knicks, whether it was Devin Booker, Paul George, Kevin Durant. These guys are
yeah,
paid,
yeah.
and it's too much money you that they're getting paid. That means you have to clear out the damn whole bench just to bring it in.
Yeah, man. At what and whose expense?
Yeah, it's just I think it's something that the Knicks have to consider. Shifting gears over to the New York Liberty. The Liberty played on Sunday against Indiana Fever. The Liberty absolutely demolished Indiana. The Liberty are now sitting at 7-2. Indiana has only won two games. They're 2-9. Liberty won that game 68 to 104. That was actually a great game. It very much reminded me of what we seen from this Liberty team when they play together. They just looked really comfortable. They seem to be finding their mojo and finding their rhythm with this together as a team. I was telling you the other day, the commentator had mentioned, which is true, the Liberty became a better team last year in the second half of the season, right? So I did watch a press conference. Sandy Brondello, head coach of the New York Liberty, did mention how they're still working out kinks. They're
Yeah.
trying to find their continuity together, and they're still a work in progress, right? So they're just trying to get better, stay better. I personally don't think that people have, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think people have the Liberty and Aces as another finals round. I think that was the narrative last year in the WNBA. I think people have the Aces going back to the finals. I think that this year you have a few teams who are looking very good. I know the league has just started. It's still early, but you have teams like Minnesota Lynx who look very good. Chicago Sky, they may not have won a lot of games, but Chicago plays very sneaky. And this is why I said the Liberty have to be careful for a team like that. When the Liberty played them the last game and we played them in the preseason, first of all, when the Liberty played Chicago Sky in a preseason game,
Okay.
crushed. The Liberty looked like a brand new team and they never played the game. I couldn't believe my eyes. I said, what is going on here? Then we played them in the regular season game and still couldn't figure it out. Chicago, shout out to Teresa Weatherspoon. She had the defense pinned on each player on the New York Liberty. No one could get a shot off the entire game. Then you had Angel Reese, who plays very. I'm trying to compare her to a player who plays like that in the NBA, but it's called, I call it sloppy basketball. It works for her, but it's sloppy. So Angel Reese, she'll go for a rebound, right? Or she's dribbling down the lane on a fast break point. She's not even looking to score. She just throws it up, but she somehow angles her body to get the defender to foul her. She ends up on the floor, and you're like, and the refs just call it a foul because it's the way she lands her body, she angles her body, she contorts herself to get to the basket where the refs just have to call the foul. And a lot of them are
Yeah.
not fouls. But Angel Reese does that very well. She's also very aggressive as a rebounder. And she took Jonquel Jones out of her game the last matchup.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jonquel Jones couldn't even get in her game because she kept getting fouls. And Angel Reese was laughing, literally laughing, because she knew what she was doing in that game. And they did that to the Liberty in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. And it was just awful. And Weatherspoon, she wanted to come out there and get a win against her former team that she played on. And she did just that. So I wasn't happy with the last game that the Liberty played against Chicago. But if the Liberty can pull off numbers and play like they did, I understand Indiana Fever, they're not a good team, right? So that's a completely different team comparing it to Chicago. But some nights teams have off nights. But if the Liberty players can have numbers like they did against Fever, Jonquel Jones had a double double. She had 18 points, 13 rebounds. But Nigel Laney Hamilton had 20 points, 5 assists. Brianna Stewart had 13 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. And let me tell you something, Brianna Stewart hasn't had a lot of high points so far, except for maybe the first 2, 3 games. It seems like this season, I don't know if the Liberty are pulling away from giving her the ball. But let me tell you something. If you really watch Liberty games, she is doing every other thing for that team. Every other thing for that team that I'm like, yo, if they didn't have her, it's just like how if the Knicks didn't have Brunson, the Liberty wouldn't be good. If the Liberty don't have Brianna Stewart on that team, they're not a good team because she does the little things like, let me stop the clock, let me get to the free throw line, let me draw the foul. I've seen passes going way past her, and she has such a long wingspan, and
Oh
she's able
yeah.
to grab the ball with one hand and save it from being a turnover. And she's going out of bounds, saving the ball. She's tipping it, throwing it to the right player. It's those little things that she does. The last game against Indiana, she dived on the floor. She came from out of nowhere. The top, he dived on the floor, tapped the ball to Sabrina. Sabrina was able to get a three. It's the little things that she's doing that's making a huge, huge impact. Huge impact. So she may not be dropping 20, 25 a night, but she's doing those little things that's keeping them in this game. The Liberty did have Courtney Vandersloot back. She was suffering from back injury from the last game. She came back, has 7 assists, 9 points, 5 rebounds. Um, Kayla Thornton only had 5 points, which I'm surprised, but she's another one that does a lot of the little things. Kennedy Burke had a really solid game, had 10 points. I'm liking her. Fishbesh had 8 points. I would like to see her get the ball a little bit more, Fish Besh, because she can shoot the three. I would like to see her get the ball more. I have to do more research because I'm not sure if the Liberty are getting back
Agree, right?
Marine Johannes. I'm not sure what's the deal with her, but it would be nice to see her come back. This is one thing that I hate with the WNBA is that sometimes you have players like her who have to still play back in their country or for whatever European team they're playing for, and they got to come to the WNBA after 25 games or so and then implement themselves, which is crazy. Like they shouldn't have to do that. And Marine's been having to do that the past 2 years, but man, they could really use a player like her. She's
For
exciting
sure.
to watch. She's a spark. She's high energy. The Liberty play tonight against Chicago Sky. Chicago sitting at 3-4. The Liberty are 7-2. Tonight starts the first game of a 3-game road trip. So the Knicks, the Liberty play tonight at 8. They play again on Thursday against Atlanta. That'll be the first matchup against Atlanta. And then I believe this will be their first matchup on Saturday against Connecticut, who's actually sitting at the number one seed in the league. Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken, hasn't lost a game.
They happen. They're 8-0.
Yeah, so
Well, well, the Libya are 7-2. Went into a little bump and they got back on track. They had they were four, no, and they lost two. Then they went back on that 3-game win streak.
well,
So
they have to win those two. You can't go losing 2 and 3 in a row. Like, but I think this road trip, this start of the road trip, starting tonight against Chicago, these 3 games are going to be pivotal to see how the Liberty play on the road and what are you going to do against a team like Chicago, who y'all can't seem to figure out how to beat them. I
but
don't know what it is about Chicago because they're not that good. They're good, but they not that good. But somehow the New York Liberty can't figure out how to beat the Chicago Sky, and you have to figure out how to beat them. You got to get Angel Reese to get out of her game, and now they have Camila Cardoza back. So what y'all gonna
uh,
do?
the Fever beat them, so and that gave them their second win. So the Knicks got to just play a lot smarter,
It's
watch their
not the Knicks.
turnovers.
It's the Liberty.
What was that?
It's not the Knicks.
Well, she got Knicks to the brain, the Liberty. Excuse me, the Liberty. They have to play a lot smarter and watch those turnovers because we saw where
It
those
was
those
too many
turnovers,
times.
and it hurts them. But so for the most part, they like they get in that mojo back, and the continuity. And the best part, they do have their 5 starters back, so
Yeah,
that's plus. That the bench did change over. There's some players you got rid of for whatever reason. So, but their bench, Kennedy, and then Kayla Thornton, you know, what's her name? Five bitch, and Kayla, she reminds me of like a Josh. Man,
we do
she's like
everything but
she's the glue of that Liberty team. Man, she does some of everything and hustles. Man, she will hustle down at the other end. Next thing she's back on D. Like, what? Where you come from? But nah, she's a player. And she puts her heart into it. So she reminds me of a Josh Hart, the female version.
yeah, for sure. Kayla Thornton is definitely that girl. She can
Hmm.
she can rebound. She could shoot the three with
Yeah,
confidence. She could hit free throws. She's not afraid to sacrifice
Benz.
her body and get the offensive call foul on her. The only player that I'm not really crazy about on a New York Liberty team that to me I don't know.
Sabri.
It's Sabali, yeah. And I'm not here to compare siblings. A lot of siblings play in professional sports, and there's always one that's better than the other. But Sabali, to me, you was better off keeping Stephanie Dolson.
Oh, for sure.
And they should have sent Sabali to Washington, who's
Well,
actually
I mean,
struggling this season.
You know what? Maybe let's see what she can do. Perhaps she'll get better because she was out like last season.
And she's
You
out.
know,
I don't know if she's playing tonight, but she was out the other game
oh
Sunday.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She didn't
The
play.
game before, she hurt herself on a play where she blocked. She actually blocked someone's shot, but I guess maybe she strained something the way she blocked their shot.
Yeah,
I don't know. You keeping hope alive for her, but I'm gonna give her a chance to show me something. But I'm just I don't like her as a backup to JJ to Jonquel Jones. I don't know. It's the way she plays. It's so predictable to me. Like she telling the player come up, girl. Why you doing that? You letting the defense know you about to set the screen. Like just set it. Let it be organic. Let it flow. I just don't like the way she plays necessarily. Like I don't know, maybe she'll show me something different. She shows me bits and pieces and spurts where I'll see where she's showing something great, and that's the whole thing. That she'll show me, and I'll go, oh, okay, cool. But nonetheless, we'll see what the Liberty do on this road trip. Um, Sabrina Ionescu was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. She dropped 20.7 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 6 assists, to lead the Liberty to 7-2. I think one thing that Sabrina has done this season so far that I've noticed, she's being more aggressive going to the paint.
and she's consistent. So, well, as again, as a player plays, they will get better. That's the same thing with with Caitlin Clark. And also, as I mentioned, these games, the Commissioner's Cup has started. It runs from June 1st to the 13th. So this is like the third game of the Commissioner's Cup. I know they played three at home and then two on the road. And of course, the team with the best record, with the most wins, that's who's going to vie for the cup, and who has the best record overall. That's the team that will play the Commissioner's Cup at home. So it's vital, that the Knicks, excuse me, that the Liberty, definitely get another, a win. They do play, like you said, ATL on June 6th. And I think they come back home because it's only like that. This will be their third game. Um,
And you explained the Commissioner's Cup. I don't think that people know what that means.
oh well, the Commissioner's Cup. I mean, this is the matter of fact. This is the fourth season that has been in place. And it's the teams that are just it's
It's
sort of
kind of
like
like an in-season tournament for the WNBA, their version of the in-season
exactly.
tournament.
It's like the in season tournament. They play each 5 games. Teams they play respectively. And it runs from, again, like I mentioned, the first through the 13th. They play three at home and then two on the road. And the Commissioner's Cup will culminate on June 25th. So in between, because the teams have to play. Whoever have the most wins will play the opponent that the top two teams. Whoever have the most wins, they will play each other and vie for the Commissioner's Cup. And whoever has the winning record, that's where the Commissioner's Cup will be played at home, and these wins are counted towards their regular season. So again, this is why it's vitally important that you know the Liberty, protect, like in like it's a regular season, because it's counted towards their regular season game. So that's why it's vitally important that they do, win these home games, just as well as away, because it do count towards their season. So that's pretty much it's pretty much it's similar to the like you said, the in season tournament for the NBA.
Yeah, because I don't think
So,
people really know what that is. A lot of people are always confused, but in a
yeah,
nutshell, what Diva Locks was saying is the Commissioner's Cup for the WNBA is basically their version of the in-season tournament. Not last year, the New York Liberty did win it. They won the Commissioner's Cup championship trophy, as well as a bonus. They do get a bonus payout on their pay, each player, which is nice. So yeah, that is very much capable for the top teams who have the best record, winning record overall. and seeding to win the Commissioner's Cup. So, if the Liberty stay the course, they can totally take it again this year. Why not? Nothing's stopping them.
And
So,
they also play for charity. So the more games they win, money gets donated towards a charity of their choosing as a team. So it's a win-win. The winning team, they do get 500,000, and we know, that's a lot of money for these young ladies, because there's a disparity in pay as to what they make. So again, it's a win-win for them.
right. Yeah. Like I said, the Liberty are more than capable of being able to win the cup this year. Um, I'm sure you've heard of the news going around the league about the WNBA and this whole media narrative with Caitlin Clark, and it's causing a division of WNBA players being jealous of Caitlin Clark and the kind of calls that are being called against Caitlin Clark. And it's caused a big stir in the league amongst sports journalists, fans. And I think it sucks because the media is creating this whole narrative, just like they did with Tibbs, saying, "Oh, well, he overplays his players," and there was a poll that players don't want to play for him, and they ran off with that, saying players don't want to play for Tibbs. But ever since Caitlin Clark has come to the WNBA, there's been this entire um, media narrative that's saying that current players who are in the league in the WNBA are jealous of Caitlin Clark because of the sneaker deal, because of the attention. And honestly, even if that's true, who cares? I'm not sure why that's becoming like more talked about, because you have this highly named player who's bringing huge attention, which I think if you're a really great player in college and you're doing something special in anticipation of you going into the pros, I think that's great for any pro sport. And it's even greater for the WNBA because we've never had this before. But I think the whole play when Kennedy bumped Caitlin Clark, was it dirty? Yes. Doesn't the NBA have players that do that same thing to other players randomly just because? Also, that's not the first time we've seen that happen in the WNBA. The problem was, and you and I was talking about this, people weren't watching. Y'all weren't watching. You thought when Candace Parker came in the league, she was getting treated like the nice little puppy. Oh, we're gonna baby her. No, players will let her know, welcome to the league.
Yeah.
And Candace Parker wasn't no name. Like people knew who she was playing from Tennessee going into the WNBA. And I just think that like this whole narrative of that, first of all, do I agree with the play that Kennedy did on Caitlin? No, right? But to me, it's like that happens in a game of basketball. You're gonna have a villain on certain teams who play like that. That's not she plays like that. She was playing like she was playing like that when she's playing against the New York Liberty. But I think that this whole like narrative of like because she's white and she's getting paid more money and people are not speaking about the black players, which the league like the NBA makes up for predominantly African American players. But I just think that it's just like it's getting out of control. If you ask me, it's becoming too much of like we're focusing too much on talking about Caitlin Clark and what's being happening to her or not being done to her or the lack of this, lack of that. And I know you spoke on it how she's gonna find her way and she's gonna figure it out. Like we all know that when you watch any sport, players are gonna get better. They figure it out. But I think it's causing a divide, and I think that big part of that for me is that a lot of people weren't watching the WNBA prior to Caitlin Clark coming here. So a lot of people don't know a lot of these other women who've been in the league for many years, right? Who are really, really good, like really good. You know what I mean? Who could take Caitlin Clark or anybody else one on one easily. And it's no disrespect to Caitlin Clark, but I think that on one hand, the attention that Caitlin Clark has brought to the league has been great, right? It's helping to make change for the WNBA. But I think on the other hand, it's like we're getting away from the sport itself and also not recognizing those who's paved the way and played making no money, making peanuts. Just because I think you had also a lot of I think a small percentage of it was women, but a bigger percentage of it was men. Because I've had men tell me like, who watches women's basketball? They don't dunk, as if dunking makes the whole game when most of your favorite players in the NBA don't even dunk the ball. They barely dunk.
Exactly.
NBA now is a bunch of everybody want to shoot threes. Even when they can't shoot them, they like to shoot threes, right? So I just think that this whole narrative on like we're talking so much about Caitlin Clark, it's to me it's becoming old. Like we gotta move on. We gotta move on. Like we it's one thing you talk about her as a player and her trying to her woes, her up and downs, figuring out her rookie season, you know, and being on a team that's not playing well in the league. But it's another thing when we're making this big reactionary media post about players bumping her and knocking her to the floor. My thing is that not supposed to happen? If that wasn't happening, it would make the league boring. I'm not saying you're supposed to rough her up, but I don't think you should coddle her and baby her either, whether it was her or another great women's basketball star who came to the league. And furthermore, the narrative is the media is so controlled, so worried about Caitlin Clark. Did you forget Cameron Brink made it to the league? Angel Reese made it to the league. Camila Cardosa made it to the league. And I could keep going on with more players. But like there's other women that were highly talked about in college to the level of Caitlin Clark, but just so focused on Caitlin Clark. And I get it because she can shoot threes like Steph Curry. Sunday's game, I don't remember what commentator it was, but they said Caitlin Clark should reach out to Sabrina Ionescu and work with her. It's not saying that her shot is bad, but you should work with somebody in the league with that veteran presence who can help you out and help you get free. Because right now she's having trouble getting free to release her shot. Your thoughts on this whole narrative with around Caitlin Clark?
Well, my thoughts is, I watched Caitlin on a collegiate level, and now she's on a professional level. Just like how she figured it out in college, she will in the WNBA. Nothing's given, you have to earn it. So she's gonna get bumped around and knocked around, and she'll figure it out. She's gonna toughen up, and the game will come to her, as she go along. Some players just have, and that's even for the NBA. Some players just can make an immediate impact, and some, it takes time. I think eh, it's a lot of pressure on her because everybody was expecting her to just come in and just make this splash, and perhaps maybe it's pressure on her, and that's a lot on her shoulder. So have the media ever thought about that aspect? Yeah, yeah, you in the W and you make up money, but again, it's pressure. She she'll figure it out. Now, get into what you were saying about that narrative. I don't think it's jealousy. Me personally, I don't think so. My issues, and there's several, is that they the media, whoever's perpetuating this narrative around the other ladies being jealous, I think that they need to spread those accolades around evenly. Because like I said, these women, they've all earned that right to be in the WNBA. They put in that work, that time. They bust they butts night in, night out, just like she do.
Hmm.
However, they are not getting the same due respect and accolades and the shine as she is. Yeah, she's changed the game tremendously. You can't take nothing away from her, from what she did, with the charter flights, which, by the way, that was due in part to, again, Brittany Griner, what she experienced
Agreed.
last season. So just a combination with that, and it's like, okay, well, we really gotta do something, put something in place. So yeah, did Caitlin Clark speed up? Yeah, maybe she did. So again, and you're not taking anything away from what she has brought, to the league, and just the spotlight on it. But the league has been here 28 years strong. If Caitlin Clark was to bow out right now, guess what? The league is still going on.
Right.
It's not going to fold if she were to just bow up, go, oh, the pressure, whatever. This league will still go on. I do not diminish or take anything away from her and what she has brought to the WNBA, because she has the viewership, the attendance, everything has been like magnified tenfold, and thank you for that. So my issue is not with her, because like I said, I love watching her play. I want her to succeed, because it's like how Sabrina be hitting them threes. That's like exciting for me, for those plays to just take you up the dribble, boom, 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 and do. Like, I would love to see those three to four, because that's what she's known for. That that's her greatest attribute. But all those other things, she'll figure it out. Jealousy, no, probably. And I was watching First Take, and Molly Quorum, and shout out to Molly Quorum and Monica McNutt. They went up against Stephen A. Shannon, and Molly, she said it best. I mean, I was like, man, she wrapped it up. She said it's not jealousy. She said perhaps it's resentment. Resentment and jealousy is totally two different things.
Hmm.
They're not in the same category. Resentments because they put in the work, they did their diligence to get here, and they deserve to be here, and they deserve to get the same shine as she do, that she gets. So that's why I say it's not jealousy. It's like, so what I'm doing is not as important. And like I said, it takes more than one player for this league to succeed. If she were to bow out, the league will still go on. Angel Reese has a right to speak up. You know, she put in the work. She has a ring on a collegiate level. Caitlin Clark has went up twice and came up empty-handed. So these young ladies, they put in that work. It started at the collegiate level. Well, way before that, from high school, and they transferred over to the collegiate level. Now it's over in the professional level. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not jealousy, it's resentment, because this y'all putting so much spotlight on one person. And again, Not taking away from anything that she has done and what she has brought to the league, but I think that they all deserve that same treatment and the spotlight than one individual person. And to speak on that foul, that was, man, that was a dirty foul. Yeah, they didn't call a flagrant right then and there, but when they looked at it, they did assess a flagrant. What's today? Tuesday, Monday. So they did assess a flagrant against Chuck Kennedy. So, you know, she will. That's a flagrant against her. Now, Caitlin, she has 3 flagrant fouls against her. You only get 7 in the WNBA. After that, you can suspend. So she's learning as she's going. So she holds her own. So she has some flagrant fouls, and she has a few more games, and after that she gets like suspended. So she will learn the nuances, and her team as they go along, they'll figure it out, um how to free her up, get her open. And they're a young team as well, so you got to take all that into consideration. So I think it's so much people wanted her to make this immediate impact. Some players do, some players don't. She will figure it out, and
Yeah.
I'm here for it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the fouls, and so forth. Whatever they gonna bring her way, she'll figure it out.
Yeah. Um, I agree 100% with that, that Caitlin Clark will figure it out. I'm going to share a clip from, it's quite long, but I'm just going to share the first like few seconds of it from the first take. It's not the whole thing. I'm sure many of you have already seen it, but
Ball play. Do you actually think people are going to continuously watch if they allow cheap shots to continuously happen on Caitlin Clark? There are young ladies in the WNBA who are jealous of Caitlin Clark.
I don't think there's any jealousy or pettiness that is fueling dirty play.
You can go back to Candace Parker's rookie year. There has been physicality and welcome to the league moments.
I believe black players who have been scratching and clawing to help build this league have a right to be somewhat resentful. This happened to Caitlin Clark. It's not the same if somebody had a hip check Carter. You see who the golden goose is. Don't hate on it. Don't resent it. Ride it.
There has been this prevailing narrative that the WNBA is mad at this little white girl being the great white hope.
We're saying it's a problem, Mark Eminem, because don't get in the way of the money. That's all.
You could be grateful for the shine she's brought, but at the same time be frustrated.
The league at large rooting against Caitlin Clark is just an absolute farce.
yeah, I shout out to Monica McNutt for putting Stephen A in his place
Thank you.
and letting Stephen A know that you weren't talking about WNBA games for the past 3 years, even though he swore up and down that he has. I've never heard Stephen A talking about, hell, even a New York Liberty player or a game. He swears he's talked about WNBA players. Stephen A, you haven't. I've never heard you speak about it. And quite honestly, ESPN hasn't either. The same way we have the smash a like button at the bottom of the screen, that's what the WNBA was getting. That little at the bottom telling you the box score of who did what, who won games and who lost games. So I think that not only were players speaking up, like Angel Reese, like Breanna Stewart, who made tweets about whether it was chartered planes or whatever it may be, more pay. I think it's a collective effort of people speaking up saying, listen, we've been here too. It's not just about Caitlin Clark, right? And there's other players in the league who, I mean, last year there was a whole divide as far as why Breanna Stewart won the MVP and not Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson will most likely probably win it this year, rightfully so. She has been balling out of control, right? But I'm not just saying this because Brianna Stewart is a New York Liberty player. I thought she was deserving of the MVP, but the media created a narrative of black versus white. And that was that whole ordeal. But I think Kennedy Carter she's a villain type of player. That's just how she plays. She plays dirty. That's what she does. She was playing dirty against the Liberty when we just played against them. She's probably gonna play like that again tonight when we play them.
Yeah.
You got to make sure she doesn't injure anybody. He's like a Draymond Green. You don't know what you're gonna get from her on certain nights. But to your point, I think that yes, Indiana's a young team. I don't think that the league gave Indiana a harsh schedule, Parish Duggar. Sometimes teams get a really harsh schedule at the beginning, and then some teams get an easier schedule at the beginning. To me, it doesn't matter. It's how you finish. But this Indiana Fever team, they're not that good of a team. Whether Caitlin Clark was shining every night, collectively as a whole, it takes 5 players to win on the floor to win the game. She's not that good. And honestly, I was speaking to you. I don't think that Indiana's coach is going to last as their head coach because they're not doing well. And you have a franchise player you brought to that team, rightfully so, because the worst team gets the better player. And I don't think that, I think Christy, is her name, from the
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah.
I don't think Christy Sides is going to last as the head coach. It's something about her coaching style. I can't really pinpoint it, but it doesn't seem like it's for WNBA. It seems like it's more suitable for high school, right? Because I'm not seeing an improvement from last year to this year with Indiana. They look like the same team last year, even with Caitlin Clark this season. It's almost given like Detroit Pistons kind of vibes. It's just you're seeing the same thing, just a different year. But nonetheless, there's no reason for Caitlin Clark to cry. She's a grown woman. This is a big girl league. She's getting paid to dribble a basketball and shoot a basketball. And yes, I commend her for not complaining or crying about it, but there's nothing to complain and cry about. You have to earn your stripes in any professional sports. And she will get there. She will find her footing in this league. But I think we can't forget about the many other players who deserve spotlight as well throughout this league that have been balling in this league and doing what they need to do in this league. And I just think that this is just a simple wake up call for her being a rookie coming into the league and players like, welcome to the big girl league. Welcome to the WNBA.
Yeah.
So,
And you said she's not good. It's not so much that she's not good. She has to find her footing. I mean, I think she's good. She broke a lot of hell of a records, on the collegiate level. She will get there. Um, if it's not this season, and perhaps it could be, a coach's thing where they're not maximizing her and getting her those open looks and freeing her up. So she will get there. Again, if it's not this season, I think we'll definitely see, a different version of her next season because she's gonna, once the season's over, and she may pick up some steam, the second half of the league. Again, a lot of things factor in. A, that's a young team. B, it could be a coach's thing. C, the playing style. The coach. Again, the coach probably hasn't figured out like, how to maximize her. So again, a lot of factors could be, playing as to of her struggles. So I'm here for it. Like I said, I think she's good. Just that again, my issue is again, it's not with her. I just want every young woman lady to get the same treatment, and she'll find her own.
Yeah, I don't think Caitlin Clark is not good. I think maybe what I said was misunderstood. I'm not saying that she's not good, and I agree she is gonna find her footing. I just don't think that part of it is the team that she's on. They're not a good team, clearly. That's why she's on that team.
A young team.
And Christy Sides is not to me the coach for that team. I don't think she's a fit to coach Indiana. I think that they need to look, and I'm sure they will. They're probably making calls now. They're probably within another 10, 15 games if she doesn't show improvement. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think part of that is that, okay, when the team is young and they're not that good, it's expected. But I think it's a little different when you have such a huge, big name franchise player there, that they're expecting bigger things to happen within the league. Like you're selling out the tickets at home and as well as on other teams' home court. But I think when you're not winning, it's like, well, what are we doing here? So I
Yeah.
think that part of it is a lot of those things you said, but I'm not really fond of how Christy Sides is coaching that team. So I don't see her lasting there. And listen, the Liberty had this issue before we brought in Sandy Brondello.
Nope.
The Liberty
Man,
didn't win a game, and the Liberty
stunk.
I said enough, because there wasn't a problem with the tickets. They were selling out the arena in Barclays. The problem was the Liberty weren't winning. And then that's when they brought in Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu. They brought in Benijah Laney, who was already there. They brought in Brianna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, Stephanie Doe. They was like, we gotta bring in, they kept calling it a super team. We have to make changes here. We need a championship here. And I think sometimes as organizations, you have to make those kind of moves if you're trying to move towards a championship run. And in the case of the New York Liberty, they haven't won a championship yet. But very close last year. Very close last year. So I think that they have to stay the course, the regular season this year. And when it comes to the playoffs, you can't lose steam. It's a different playing field. Last year, round one was a cakewalk for them. Round two got a little tougher. I believe round one we played Washington. Round two, I can't remember who we played. And then we made it to play against Las Vegas Aces. And it really hurt as a New York Liberty fan to watch the Aces beat you on your home floor. I was so annoyed by that.
At one point.
At one point. But the Liberty had that game. The problem was they weren't playing. Somehow they were playing like weird that whole game. Just very strange. Like they never played with each other before. It was just crazy. So this year, I need the Liberty to have a strong regular season. And I like that this year the New York Liberty are not all in the spotlight. Nobody's really talking about them. Maybe because they didn't live up to the hype last year. As far as winning the championship, they lived up to the hype, made the finals. They went to the championship round, but they lost it. But I like them being the underdogs. Remain that way. Just like the Knicks, remain the underdog. You don't need every media post talking about you. I like it that way. I don't want to. I never go, well, why are they never talking about the Liberty? I don't want them to. Liberty keep doing what they're doing. Yeah, and then get to the postseason and get back to the finals and now have people talking about you. Like, well, they were able to beat the odds and make it back there again. So tonight is going to be a pivotal night to see if the Knicks can figure out a way to beat Chicago.
Well, they're on now, so
yeah, we'll see what they'll be able to do. Liberty up 3-2. I need the Liberty to win this game. Beat Chicago on their home floor since they've already beat us twice. I need the Liberty to beat them tonight. Your predictions for the next 3 games? What do you have the Liberty at?
definitely, you know me, I'm an optimist. I have them in both of these games, beating Chicago and ATL. They played today, Thursday. They played
Yeah, Thursday
yesterday.
and then Saturday.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm going 3-0.
I got them 2-1. I think it's iffy between possibly Connecticut. It would be nice to beat them on their home floor and give them their first loss. And seeing how it goes tonight. But I got them 2-1.
All right. 3-0. Ride or die.
I was holding on hope for the Rangers. I hope they was gonna take it all the way, but boy, it seems to keep happening to them. They make it really far and then they get out. It's just it's hard. It's something about New York teams. You know, there's something in the air here that we can't. I don't know. Salute to the chat. Just Nix, Wonder Woman, Parish Duggar. I am Jarrell. Salute to you guys. CM67, Pablo Demas, Eddie C, Coach SAR 617. Did I say Parish Duggar? Duggar? Didn't say his last name. Salute to Queen at Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk. I believe she will be on Friday with the show, and possibly back next Monday. AP, salute to you. I saw you in the comments, AP, under the Liberty's last win and under ESPN. King Ribby RM, salute to you as well. TJ Hana Blue, salute to you. And I think that's everybody. Hit the like button before you get out of here. Shout out to the replay gang. Hit that like button as well. Those of you who are new here, subscribe to the channel. We're going to go watch the Liberty game, and we'll see you guys back Thursday. Until next time, everybody. Peace.